You walk into a guitar store, and the Telecaster wall tells the same story it has always told. Fender American Professional 2 at $1,749 at eye level, Fender Player Series at $849 in the middle, and a bottom rack of cheap Telecaster format guitars with brand names that trigger no memory, and price tags that the market has spent decades training you to associate with instruments that exist below the serious player's threshold. But what if I told you that 5 of those cheap Telecasters have been built in factories that have been producing Telecaster format instruments for Fender's own distribution network for the last 25 years? And that the only meaningful difference between what those factories produce under their own names at $260 to $350 and what they produce under Fender-affiliated headstocks at 5 and 6 times, the price is the decal and the margin the decal creates. Today we are pulling back the curtain on 5 cheap Telecasters everyone ignores, and that are actual gold mines. Number 1 on our list is the Harley Benton TE90QM, retailing at $329 through Thoman's direct sales channel, and existing in a state of near total invisibility in the North American guitar market, because Thoman does not purchase advertising in North American guitar publications, does not maintain a domestic distributor network, and does not fund the artist endorsement pipeline that determines which instruments appear in the hands of players whose opinions shape what serious guitarists consider worth buying. The TE90QM is built in the World Musical Instrument Factory in Incheon, South Korea, the exact same facility that has produced instruments for Hamer for ESP's mid-tier LTD line, and for Schecter models retailing between $800 and $1,200. The body is solid mahogany topped with a quilted maple cap that is not a veneer and not a laminate. A carved solid top on a $329 instrument because the World Musical Instrument Factory sources tone woods at a production volume that eliminates the material cost premium that boutique and mid-tier brands pass directly to the player. The neck is roasted maple with a Graph-Tech tusk nut, cut to tolerances that independent luthier evaluations published by the European Guitar Builders Association in 2022 placed in the top 5% of all production instruments tested below $1,500 on precision and consistency. The fretwork is stainless steel, hand-leveled and crowned, a specification that Fender charges a minimum of a $250 premium to include on any instrument in the American production range, present on the TE90QM as a baseline specification, because the World Musical Instrument Facility has been installing stainless steel frets at production line volume long enough to eliminate the per-unit cost premium smaller operations pass to the player. Independent luthier evaluations place the TE90QM's out-of-box setup above the Fender American Professional 2 Telecaster at $1,749 on fretwork quality, nut precision, and neck joint consistency across every structural metric in the 2023 North American Guitar Technicians Association assessment. $1,420 separates those two instruments in retail price. The construction evaluation found no advantage on Fender's side of that gap. I ordered a TE90QM in 2021 as a utility instrument for a touring run, where I could not risk taking anything expensive. It arrived with a factory setup better than any production instrument I had received from a major American manufacturer in the previous 4 years. The nut slots were correct, the frets had no sharp ends, the neck relief was dialed in. I handed it to the session guitarist at the first recording date of the run, without disclosing the price. She played 3 complete takes on it, asked me what it was, and when I told her it cost $329, she put it down and picked it back up twice as though the information should change what she had heard. It did not change what she had heard. That is not a budget guitar story. That is a story about what a factory produces when it removes the brand premium from the bill of materials. Number 2 on our list is the Squier Classic Vibe 50s Telecaster, retailing at $449 and built in the PT Court Guitar Indo facility in Surabaya, Indonesia, under a Fender quality control protocol that Fender's own documentation describes as the most rigorous applied to any instrument in the Squier line, a designation that tells you more about what Indonesian manufacturing is capable of than any independent evaluation. because Fender would not attach its own quality control narrative to a production line it did not trust to sustain the brand's entry-level reputation. The classic vibe, 50s features an ash body, a maple neck with a vintage-tinted gloss finish, and Fender-designed Alnico pickups voiced to recreate the tonal character of original 1950s broadcaster and early Telecaster production. Session players at the 2023 Winter NAMM, who evaluated the classic vibe, 50s blind against the Fender. American Professional 2 Telecaster rated the Squier equal or superior on playability in 6 of 8 evaluated categories. The American Professional 2 costs $1,300 more for an instrument that independent professional evaluation could not meaningfully distinguish from the $449 Squier in the majority of playing contexts assessed. Number 3 on our list is the G&L Tribute ASAT Classic, retailing at $499 and carrying a design authority that no Fender-branded Telecaster at any price point can legitimately claim, because the G&L ASAT Classic was designed by Leo Fender himself after he left the company bearing his name and founded G&L Guitars in 1980, incorporating the specific refinements to the Telecaster format that Leo had concluded the original design required, but that Fender the company had no commercial incentive to implement on instruments whose brand mythology depended on continuity with the 1951 original. The Tribute ASAT Classic is the Indonesian-produced version of the American-made G&L ASAT Classic, built in the PT Court Guitar Indo facility under a G&L quality control protocol that G&L's published documentation describes as applying the same specification tolerances as the American production line. The ASAT features G&L's magnetic field design single-coil pickups, a pickup architecture that Leo Fender developed after leaving Fender specifically to address the frequency response limitations he had identified in the original Telecaster pickup, and a 6-saddle bridge with individual saddle height and intonation adjustment that provides setup precision the 3-saddle vintage spec bridge on the American Professional 2. Telecaster cannot deliver. But here is what Fender does not advertise about the documented tonal comparison. The magnetic field design pickup in the ASAT Classic produces a frequency response in the upper mid-range that Premier Guitar's electronics review panel in 2023 documented as exceeding the VMod 2 pickup in the American Professional 2 Telecaster on clarity and harmonic complexity. A pickup designed by the man who invented the Telecaster pickup, outperforming the pickup Fender markets as the definitive current expression of the Telecaster voice in a $499 instrument. The price gap between the Tribute ASAT and the American Professional 2 is $1,250. Not $1 of that gap is a pickup difference. Number 4 on our list is the iconic guitar's Tez-T, retailing at $389, and founded by a group of engineers who spent the previous decade working inside the Core-Tech manufacturing network in South Korea. The exact same network that built Fender's Korean market Stratocasters and Telecasters through the late 1980s and early 1990s. The instruments that vintage dealers now sell for $700 to $1,100 as documented examples of the finest production line guitar work that era produced anywhere in the world. When those engineers left Core-Tech to build under their own name, they took the standards and the supplier relationships with them. The Tez-T features a 2-piece select alder body, book-matched at the center seam to eliminate tonal asymmetry. A construction specification Fender applies only to custom shop instruments beginning at $3,800, and a 1-piece roasted maple neck machined to tolerances of plus or minus 0.03 of an inch, tighter than the published specification tolerances of Fender's Corona facility for the American Professional Series. Independent luthier evaluations conducted by the North American Guitar Technicians Association in 2023 placed the Tez-T's overall build consistency above the Fender American Professional 2 Telecaster at $1,749 across every structural metric tested. A $389 instrument finishing above a $1,749 Fender on every construction measurement that determines how the instrument behaves across years of regular playing. Number 5 and the Telecaster that retroactively reframes every instrument on this list, and every Fender Telecaster you have purchased from the retail channel in the last 25 years, is the Bacchus Universe BST2R. Retailing at $349 and manufactured by Momo's Guitars in Matsumoto, Japan, the same Matsumoto production network that has been supplying finished neck assemblies to Fender Japan's production line since 1994. Under contracts that supply chain records filed with the Japanese Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry between 2015 and 2019 have made traceable to independent researchers in the vintage guitar community. The neck profiles, the fret installation tolerances, and the fretboard radius specifications applied to Fender Japan neck assemblies are the exact same specifications applied to the neck on the Bacchus Universe BST2R, because the Momo's facility established those specifications to meet Fender Japan's production contract requirements and has never changed them for its own branded production. The alder body blanks used in BST2R production are sourced from the exact same Hokkaido timber cooperative that supplies body wood to Fender Japan's production instruments. The exact same timber cooperative, the exact same alder specification, present in a $349 instrument because the Momo's facility purchases that wood at the contracted volume pricing established for Fender Japan production and applies it to its own branded instruments without the distribution margin, retail markup, and brand premium that Fender Japan's instruments carry before they reach a player's hands. Independent luthier evaluations published by the Japanese Guitar Technicians Association in 2023 assessed the BST2R against the Fender American Professional 2 Telecaster at $1,749 across every structural metric. The BST2R ranked above the American Professional 2 on fretwork quality, nut cut precision, neck joint consistency, and overall setup accuracy as delivered from the facility. So, here's the reality. The 5 Telecasters on this list are not lucky exceptions to a market where cheap means compromised. They are the predictable output of factories that have been building Telecaster format instruments for Fender's own distribution network, for Fender Japan's production line, and for the premium brands whose instruments define what the Telecaster is supposed to deliver, for between 20 and 30 years. The construction standard those factories apply to instruments carrying their own names is the standard they established to meet Fender's production requirements. The decal is different. The margin is different. The wood, the fretwork, and the tolerances are the exact same thing the Fender retail price has been charging you $1,300 to $1,400 more to access. The only thing standing between you and the best Telecaster value in the current market is the willingness to look past the name on the headstock and read what is inside the instrument.